but when you talk about an impact, when you talk about putting butts in seats, eyeballs on screens, merchandise flying out the window, and to
Yep.
have LeBron James come join you and say his last 1 or 2 seasons, the maths for me, man. I'm going with the math. I'm picking.
And we back on once again, baby, with Unk and Chico. The pregame show and Big Dog Chico checking in to you right now. On the heels of the NBA Finals, we got Jaylen Brown as the NBA Finals MVP after they defeated the Dallas Mavericks, of course. You predicted it. You said the Celtics was going to win. I thought the Mavs somehow was going to be able to pull it out, but
Man,
damn.
look, Chico, I don't even want to take credit for it, man, because the thing is, I wanted like Kyrie to get one right. So like I told Coach Sapp on Wednesday was Warren, I said my heart wants the Dallas Mavericks. I said, man, but my basketball IQ, like Boston, just a better team. They, outside Luca and Kyrie, you really can't even just name folks. When you get past Brown and Tatum, you got Porzingis, you got Drew, you got old man
Al Horford.
Al
Yep.
out there still playing. So they got a team, man. So hats off to them. One of my critiques, so I got to tell you this, big dog. One of my critiques in the post final celebration, I think Tatum was just trying too hard, man. He was trying
Oh, yeah.
to make the moment, man. You can't make the moment, happen.
Just let it happen. I saw a meme where he was recreating. He did this scene. He did the Kobe. He did the Kevin Garnett. He did all of them.
Yeah, he was.
Like, you got to make one for yourself, dog.
Yeah, man, just react naturally. Like he was wanting that moment that was going to get replayed and replayed. Man, hats off to him. I did think that Brown was the right choice for MVP, man. Although Tatum had some stats there at the end that kind of propelled him forward, I think what Brown did in key moments of key games in the final series, he was Finals MVP for me.
Well, I think they're saying he was one of the only ones that have led his team in points, rebounds, and assists, but one of the only ones who didn't win the MVP after doing that. But I think it was because of the up and downness of the way he played throughout the series and the consistency of what Jaylen Brown did, plus his defense also, which put him over the top.
Hey man, they trying to figure out what they're gonna do with Chuck and Kenny and Ernie. They just need to call us up because you just said it perfectly. That's exactly what it was. At the end of the day, Tatum might have had better aggregate stats, but there were some moments during some of those games he disappeared, whereas Jaylen Brown was just consistent every single moment of the game. He was there, and Tatum was like, okay, big moment here, disappear 10 minutes. Big game here, play the next game. So I'm going to go. I'm not going to be the stat guy. I'm going to be the impact guy. And I think Jaylen Brown had the biggest impact in that finals for the Celtics.
Exactly. And you saw how he was talking about going at Luka and denying Luka the ball. All of that stuff plays into the MVP factor with him, his defensive prowess against Luka Doncic. And Kyrie just happened to be off throughout the season, had one good game that last game, but most of the series he was just off, surprisingly. And the other guys, of course, weren't there to score. You had Luka and Kyrie there to score. So probably some additions to be made for the Dallas Mavericks team. Not to go too far off, but I've been seeing memes or pictures with LeBron joining the Mavericks because they are rumored to draft Bronny if the Lakers pass on him because of the connection with the GM there and Rich Paul, who is of course, the agent for Clutch Sports, LeBron James, and of course, who will be representing Bronny James. So how do you see that playing out in the draft? Let's go to Bronny James right quick. How do you see that playing out in the draft? Should he be drafted? Is he an NBA player from what you've seen? And let's go to, we'll look at it from a business standpoint too. As an owner, would you look to draft him?
Oh my God, you just hit it right there at the park. As a owner, absolutely. Because as a owner, I'm paying these bills. As an owner, I got to look at the expense side and the revenue side. And let's just be clear. This won't be the first draft in NBA history where somebody has picked somebody that wasn't better or worse than the people after them. There was people got picked in front of Michael Jordan. Like this happens.
Right.
You look at jersey sales, you look at attention, you look at selling out arenas, you look at what it means that now LeBron gonna want to come play for the same team that his son on, man, I'm absolutely picking Bronny James.
So you, but let's take it here. If you're in a top 10 pick, or does that change if you're outside of the lottery? Do you consider him if you're a top 5 pick or so?
If I'm knowing what I'm knowing that LeBron James Sr. wants to close out his career with his son, I don't care what I'm picking. The first pick I get, I'm
Mm.
picking Bronny. I take the criticism, I take the hit because again, I mean Sam Bowie went before Michael Jordan. The league survived that. Look how many people went before after Greg Odom. The league survived that. This stuff happens, man. But when you talk about an impact, when you talk about putting butts in seats, eyeballs on screens, merchandise flying out the window, and to
Yep.
have LeBron James come join you and say his last 1 or 2 seasons, the maths for me, man. I'm going with the math. I'm picking Bronny no matter what.
I agree with you to a certain extent. If I'm like the Atlanta Hawks, right, and they have a chance to get that kid, the Alexander kid, I think from Australia, 7'1", might be a KD type player, projected to go number one. I might look at taking him and just building for my future. But I love what you're saying from that standpoint, because if LeBron James comes to your team, you're going to be an instant playoff team. Your revenue sale is going to be out the window. The
See,
game's going to be sold out. You know what?
see, you're right. You're right. Look, you making my point for me. Let
I'm
me tell
making
you
your
this.
point right now,
When,
dog.
when my light bill due next month, I ain't thinking about the light bill 3 years from now. I'm thinking about the light bill next month. Bronny James is gonna pay the light bill next month. Like, man, bring him in here.
You ain't lying.
He'll
And
hold
then,
he'll hold his own and like. And matter of fact, let's say he a bust and people just tear him up every night, and you still come to watch.
yeah.
I don't. If I lose, I don't lose.
If I lose, I don't lose. You're right about that. As an owner, you're right,
Man,
because
let me tell you what it's similar to when you talk about risk reward. 2 years ago, 18 months ago, people were talking about Rick George and his decision to bring Coach Prime. And a lot of people would try to look at what Coach Prime accomplished in the SWAC as it not being proven. You and I know better. When you
right,
go undefeated in conference and go to back to back conference championships, you can coach. But nevertheless, people were saying he wasn't proven. And so here comes Rick George taking this risk. I think it was a minimal risk because you got to look at the revenue side of things.
right.
Colorado, for a better part of a decade, had been losing games and losing money. The worst Coach Prime was going to do for you is just lose games. You're not going to lose money. So,
Right.
revenue going to be up, ticket sales going to be up, merchandise going to be up. You're going to be on TV and magazine covers everywhere. And if you mess around and win a game, that's just gravy. So, from a business risk standpoint, to me, it's the same thing like with Bronny James. You use your Atlanta example. When last time Atlanta won the Eastern Conference or championship?
Right. So,
They,
and then
they, can
Atlanta is
they can go 3 more years without it.
and Atlanta is Black Mecca also. So people
Yeah,
gonna come out. You gonna have Boosie on the sideline, DC gonna fly in
yeah,
the stands.
man. If I
Man,
got to
people go
pick Big Dog, I'm
crazy,
picking Bronny, man.
because you're right. Because you're gonna get LeBron James. It's like picking 2 and 1. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity right here. Actually, really, there's nobody in the draft that you can say that's just a clear cut, generational talent. They're trying to
Mm-hmm.
hype up the Sar kid, but I don't see a real generational talent out there to
No,
where you
like
might
not like
say,
had we been talking a year ago, I probably would have still picked Wemby over Bronny. But this year's draft class,
exactly.
I don't think there's, when I look at the revenue side of things and the hype side of things, I don't think there's a player in this draft that would make me go like, might not better do this. I'm going Bronny, man.
Going Bronny James, no,
Yeah,
no matter where you're picking at,
with all the question marks y'all got on him, I'm still going Bronny.
no matter where you're picking at. I hear you. I hear you. Hey, that's
No,
a
and I know when this episode dropped, they're gonna be tearing me up in the comments. I don't care.
you know what? But see,
We trying to get eyeballs on screens, man. Bronny James is eyeballs.
100%. I agree with that. Let me see what the people in the chat agree with. Y'all let us know. Put your comments in the chat. Do y'all agree? Should y'all pick LeBron James Jr. With your top pick in the NBA draft? Should you pass on him? What do y'all think? Let us know in the comments and we'll get back to you.